Hello everybody, this is Joshua Phillips, just putting this page up on Joshua Phillips Mathematics Tutoring. Very briefly, my name is Joshua Phillips, as I've said. I'm in the Moundsville, Wheeling area, and I am a private math tutor who's looking for new students, so if you're interested in that area or online, if you happen to have run into this video, I can be reached through this YouTube page if you're seeing it there, facebook.com, I believe it's Joshua Phillips Mathematics. Joshua Phillips Mathematics at gmail.com. Phillips is Phillips. So this is just a brief video I felt like uploading just to put some content up, put my contact information on a video with a little bit of some fun anecdotes about my experiences with certain math things. I sort of have two little pieces. The funny story I've experienced is that really often with sometimes it's Common Core stuff or whatever math curriculum, I have these conversations with people sort of about math, or they find out I like math, and they start talking about dealing with their kids' homework. And one little interesting pattern this is just about is that really often when something's described as this brand new way of doing math, or this brand new way of doing arithmetic, or algebra, or whatever, it's actually more like whoever was writing the book, or whoever was writing the curriculum standards chose to do it a different way for whatever reason, and I'll let people watching speculate politically about that. I do not want to get into that on this channel. This is just me looking for people who need help with math tutoring. But my experience is just this funny thing that new math, particularly the arithmetic level or the elementary school level, it's not brand new stuff. It's they chose to change how they did things, or the word choice and how they describe concepts for reasons that I'm generally not been that impressed by, but which aren't brand new. So there's two good examples. One is, I was talking to a guy one day about this, and he started saying that he was having a lot of trouble with his daughter's homework because they were doing this thing called comparable numbers. And I'd never heard that term before. I'd happened to not have my phone on me at that exact moment, so I couldn't sort of look it up, and he was having some trouble articulating what it was or what it related to, except that he was just very outraged by how he couldn't understand it and couldn't help his daughter with her math homework because of it. So, and I eventually, 20 minutes later or whatever, got to my phone, I looked it up, and comparable numbers, which he thought was this brand new sort of startling way of teaching us, was really a particular reworded, I felt a little bit awkwardly designed, but reworded way of teaching the idea of rounding numbers for calculations, or rounding numbers to sort of check whether your answer was reasonable. And there was just an interesting problem is that the idea of rounding to do certain checks, for instance, that 97 times 53, that value ought to be relatively speaking, should be close to, right? 97 times 53 ought to be close to 100 times 50, right? So 100 times 50 is obviously going to be 5,000. So if you do 97 times 53, it should be sort of near there. And there are many different particular ways in which you can use rounding to check that answers are in the right ballpark. Or if you're just looking for an estimate to make an estimate and there's a certain skill there, I think it's a useful thing to learn, whether or not it was useful in that particular case. But the key thing that this is sort of the thesis here, it wasn't a brand new idea, it was a very normal old idea where the semantics of it was changed and it was phrased differently and introduced in a way that lost parents, which is not a good thing. So that's one of them. The second one, and I have sort of a little sketch of it up on the whiteboard here, is lattice multiplication. I've also seen the same sort of thing result from the cross line multiplication, where you sort of draw cross lines. I've seen it called all sorts of odd things that I don't know where these names come from. But you have these multiplication methods which are taught to kids, which are different from how I was taught multiplication. I think how most people sort of older than me for 20 or 30 years, I think the method was about the same through there. And this method is different, even though logically it works in the same way if you study it. But what's very interesting is that it's often phrased as this is a brand new or innovative approach to mathematics or innovative way of teaching kids basic arithmetic. Well, there's two things that are wrong with that. One is I'm skeptical that it's really innovative or new in any way. It works, like I said, the same way you were taught multiplication, just via some different steps. And all I mean by that is that it's not like a computer algorithm that actually might do the multiplication more abstractly. This is our method in a different way. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's never struck me as worth the effort or the confusion it causes. But that's a little involved. Secondly, I sort of was interested in this because it was referred to as new. And I started looking around, and it turns out, if you just sort of dig for citations on this, it's called lattice multiplication. It dates back to the 16th century, so 1500s. Now, you know, I'm not a historian, but I don't think something from the 1500s counts as a brand new thing. My opinion on that, you know, on a geological time scale, I guess. But, so yeah, that was just a little video I wanted to say. One kind of funny thing to look for is that a lot of the time when people tell you something's a brand new way of doing math, especially when it's really basic material, there's a good chance it's an old, well-understood method that's being put in there for whatever reason. And I've just always found that sort of a strange thing. Thank you to anybody who's watching. As I said at the beginning of the video, I am a math tutor looking for students in the Wheeling/Moundsville, West Virginia area. You can find me wherever you're watching this video, whether that's YouTube or Facebook. Joshua Phillips Mathematics at gmail.com. Phillips is Phillips. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.